stuff with me.
Dude, I'm so it's so awesome to see it. And let's definitely get into it, but it's cool. I didn't realize you had different iterations of the boxes too.
Yes, there were. So from when it started, so I had a bigger box, different styles, just testing it out. Then I finally came up with this one right here.
Perfect.
It's not too big, not too small. So it has some sort of presence.
I love it. So how are you? And
Man,
and sorry, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm chilling, enjoying the day. Tried to go on a walk with my wife today, but it was cold outside.
I feel
Um, so yeah, we just stopped that. So we just came back home. But yeah, man, I'm cool. How are you?
I'm good. Um, I'm good. Yeah, it was super windy out here. Like the wind was making noises and stuff, so that was weird, but it kind of just died down, which is convenient. Hopefully it
Yeah.
stays kind of low. So, so for anyone who doesn't know who you are, if someone's listening to this and like, who's Sharif Akanni? Who are you?
It's wonderful. So Sharif Akanni, man, I am a 25-year-old young man that is passionate about family. Um, I'm passionate about bringing family together and not letting the things of the world kind of distract us and separate us from, intentional time. I love to think of hypothetical questions. I love asking questions. I What else? What else would I say about Sharif? Sharif is all about passion. Sharif loves to connect with people. He loves to. Um, my wife is right there doing this. I don't know what she's doing. She's distracting me. I just love to. I love to ask questions, man. And I just love, expressing myself the way God has created me to express myself. So, yeah, man, that's who Sharif is.
Definitely. I think you're definitely curious and in a way that like you want to find truth, and I think also you've got faith, you've got strong faith, and I think that holds true. Did you feel like during the process of making Limbo, and I definitely want to get into that, like how you came up with it and all that, but did you feel
Right.
like faith played a role?
Uh, to be honest, I don't think faith played a role in this. I was just, I graduated college. I was working on it while I was in college, but when I graduated college, I didn't have a job and stuff like that. So I was, and obviously, when you don't have a job, you're broke. So I would just always ask these hypothetical questions, man. Would I do this for a certain amount? You know. But I think that faith trickles its way in everything that I do, right? So with my faith, um, we're called to, honor our mother and our father. And I believe that God represents himself through family, and through a united family. So, yeah, I would say faith trickles in everything. And I've just always just been passionate about family, as I talked about earlier. Man, just making sure, because like having family, like for me, there's nothing else that really matters. Money doesn't matter to me as much. We need it, right? Or being successful and anything else doesn't really get me the way loving my wife, you know, loving my mother, my brothers and sisters does. Loving my family, So yeah, so I would say, yeah, faith does trickle in, and I was inspired just by bringing people together and bringing families together. Um, so yeah, I had no money, and I was just thinking these things up really got me excited. So yeah,
So
that's where
what
I'm at.
how did you go from asking these questions to let me make a game? Was there something that inspired it? Was it
That's a good question. Man,
because
let me think.
I think people ask questions all the time, hypotheticals. I think people have fun with that. Sometimes I love it, and sometimes I'm like annoyed with it because it's like that's never gonna happen. Like those weird scenarios, like they're fun, but sometimes it's like I don't want to waste time talking about this. Like, but I think the way that you did it creates, like you said, conversations, and it creates like you would do that, and I think the fact that you can win the game and it's cool. It makes you want to get to know the other people you're playing with.
Yeah.
But how did you go from turning dang, would I, whatever for this amount of money, to how do we create conversations out of that? How do we create a game to that? Did it just kind of naturally occur?
I think for me, I've always cared about trying to create something, trying to do something in my life, trying to make an impact. And that's been something that I've cared about and been passionate about since I was a teenager, since I was a kid, even a preteen. Like, man, I want to do something. I want to create something, and not only just create something, I would love to make some money out of it. Um, so that's how my brain always works, man, how could I do something that I'm passionate about and also, make money out of it so I have freedom as well. So I thought about it and I was like, hey man, that'll be a cool thing to do. It'll be a cool game. And I don't know anyone that personally,
Right.
I don't know anyone that's making card games. So I was like, hey man, I think that'll be unique as well. And
Yeah.
that will stand because we see people that make card games and we're like, oh man, that's cool. But I don't know who you are and I don't know where you're from. But and I would look at my Instagram friends list and Facebook friends list and people that I personally know. I was like, man, who do I know that's making a card game? I wanted to stand out in that way. So I was like, yo, let me make a card game out of this. I love asking questions and I could also make money out of it. So I don't know if that answered your question, but I just always had the mind of like creating things and trying to do something with my life. And that was what I was always consumed with. People will go out and have fun and party and do all these different things. But I was like, I want to create something.
Right.
So I've always had that heart. So yeah, that's why I turned this into a game, because my mind always works like that.
I love it. So what's the story of Limbow with regards, because I love the story that you tell when you were working, I always forget, was it Champs?
Yeah.
In the conversation you had with your manager, and
Yeah.
I love it. And I've literally told 5 to 10 people about it because it's so true. It holds true. But yeah, I'll let you run with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, shout out to everybody at Champs, the Champs that I worked out, because although I didn't want that job right out of college with a college degree, I was able to learn a lot about just building character and working hard and work ethic, and I was able to learn how to, sell and, communicate to different people of all different cultures and socio-economic backgrounds. So I'm thankful for that experience. But in that time, I couldn't really see that because I was like, man, like I just want a corporate job. You know what I mean? I just want to make 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 a year, So I wasn't able to see that. But in hindsight, I really appreciate that. But the question that I asked my manager one day as I was folding clothes was like, yo, if I were to die, just me being me, I was frustrated, like, oh, just this 9 to 5 and 9 to 6 and like, they don't really care, but I really got to create something and do something and leave something for my family. I've always just cared about that. And I obviously know that companies don't really care about you like that. So I asked my manager, I'm just me thinking about that all the time. I asked my manager, I was like, man, if I were to die today or, tomorrow, like, would you guys just like permanently end the position that I'm currently working in? Like, would you guys just out of honor for my life,
Right.
would you guys say, hey, you know what? This position, no one can ever have it because we love Sharif and Sharif is an awesome guy. He said, no. Obviously, I knew it was going to be a no. Then secondly, I asked him, you know what? I was like, hey, okay, if I die today, would you guys like leave something for my mom? You know what I mean? Would you guys leave something for my family? At least because I gave you all of my time and my energy and my mind and all these things. Would you guys leave something for my family? And he was laughing at me. He was like, no. And in my head, I said, okay, cool. So why is it in my head? I think I might have told him, me being me, I'd have told him like, so why am I giving my life to this? And what I mean by my life is obviously I'm not like giving my life, but I'm giving my time, which is my life. I'm giving my time. I'm giving 10 hours a day to a company, which I understand is business, that will not permanently end that position because in honor for me, and would immediately look for somebody else. And secondly, I can't leave anything else for my family. So I said that to him and I continued to think about that. And I was like, yo, I got to do something. And I've always wanted to do something for myself. I've always wanted to leave something behind for my family, for my kids and their kids' kids. So yeah, man, it's just like, yo, these companies don't really care, and that's okay, you know. Um, so why not do something that I care about, and why not do something where I have the freedom to go for walks with my wife, whatever time I want to go, and also work as hard as I can to create something and also leave something for my family. So yeah, that's the story behind that. Is just, and that kind of just ignited more of a passion and a fire for me to be like, yo. And I had this idea in my head, the game that ignited more of a passion for me to, pursue this, because when I go, and I know within like maybe a year or two, this game is gonna blow up. I promise you that. And I'll have access because of the money that it makes to be able to spend more time with my family. Um, but I know that I can leave something for my kids, and I can leave something for their kids as well. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
I love it. I think something that I take out of that story is the fact that you're asking those questions. And I think a lot of people just go through the motions, they go through the cycles, they clock in, clock out, they do their job, and they don't ever stop and pause and think like, is this the only way? And I think you
Yeah,
understood that maybe there's another way to live, not just to approach. Like some people think, oh, I'll just do this. Maybe I'll be the manager one day. But
yeah.
you understood that if you think differently, if you ask different questions, um, you can create something for yourself. So I
And
applaud
you
you.
know what? It's cool if if anyone desires to be the manager, and that was kind of the position that they were training me for. It's cool if you want to be a manager of a store. It's cool if you want to work for people. That's okay, But for me and for my household, and one thing that I preach in my house every day is that we are going to create something where we have freedom and flexibility in our schedule to work as hard as we want, to relax as hard as we want, and to be together. One thing I tell my wife every single day, or as many times like I could tell her, is that we roll together, right? And if we create something, right, if we are the owners of a business or the owners of an idea, we get to roll together. So obviously, like if you're working for someone, you have like your vacation time. You know what I mean? You got your vacation time that you can't. Then you start feeling awkward, like, oh man, I want to ask for a vacation, but I can't. You know what I mean? But if you work for yourself, there is the freedom of working as hard as you want. I'm not saying that working for yourself is like, oh man, you can do whatever you like, but I mean like you can create a schedule around what is important to you. And for me, what is important to me is rolling like a pack with my family. And working for someone, I don't have that freedom or that luxury to say, hey, my wife wants to do this, so we all got to go right now, But if I,
Yeah.
need to create a plan and a structure and, build this thing up, we'll be able to do that. Oh, she has to do this. Hey, everybody, we're going. You know what I mean? So anybody that wants to work for you, that's cool. But for me, my priority is having the flexibility and the freedom to say, okay, we got to do this, we got to do this, and we can do it. So, yeah.
I love it. I think two things. So I think it's easier to just get a job because I think it's definitely harder to create your own thing. But I think if you have a passion to create and create that life that you want and you see, it's harder to not do it almost. And I don't know, but what advice would you give someone that may be in a 9 to 5, maybe in that position that, like you said, I think there's nothing wrong with it. But I think if there's someone that has a dream, someone that has a vision or an idea and they want to build it. I mean, you once weren't able to hold boxes of cards. It was once in your head, but you
Yeah.
manifested it and created something. What advice would you give someone that wants to do something similar, whether it be a card game or whatever it is?
Yeah. Well, so whatever it is, I would say my word of encouragement to them would be, um, don't be afraid to take time to, don't be afraid to take time out for yourself to reflect,
Mm,
right? It was out of, and don't be afraid of not having anything. Don't be afraid of not having a starting point. You know what I mean? So it was out of nothing that I created something. So I didn't have a job. I didn't have money. Um, I just moved back from the University of Arizona back to New York. So There weren't friends around. I just, I had my mom and I had my brother at the time, and that was awesome. And they've always been there for me, but I had no friends my age that I could constantly connect with all the time, because everybody was trying to, oh shoot, everybody was trying to, just figure out their life. So I was alone in that, and I had nothing, but it was out of nothing that I created something.
Mm.
So my encouragement for anyone that wants to create something, don't be intimidated with the fact that you're starting from ground zero. Our minds are very powerful.
Mm.
So take some time out to yourself to reflect. You know what I mean? You don't always have to be out and about doing this and doing that, and I'm not a guy that's always in the mix. I just want to focus. And for me, healthy isolation allows me to think and allows me to focus. And I feel like there are a lot of people that want to do something with their lives, but they just don't have the structure or the plan, or they're just afraid to be alone. Don't be afraid to be alone. Healthy isolation, we're able to think and reflect. What do I want to do? And then the next thing, the most important thing, is now taking those steps out in faith and taking those steps out to actually do something. Because ideas are cute, but ideas don't change lives. Ideas don't make money. Then you got to actually actualize it. You have to be consistent. You have to be persistent. This was just an idea. But if it stayed an idea, and I had met my, she was my girlfriend and fiance and wife at the time, and it was just an idea, now she'd be like, yo, what are you talking about this game? But now she understands it, and she's always understood it. But now it's something where it's like, okay, this is real, and we can keep pushing it. So just to summarize that, don't be afraid to spend time by yourself, healthy isolation. Having nothing, don't let that intimidate you, because it was out of nothing that I created something. And lastly, ideas are cute, but you got to do something with those ideas. All right? I can with ideas all day long, which I do. But if I don't do anything, if I don't take steps out in faith, then it's just an idea. And I just don't have time to just be messing around with ideas. We need to walk out and start doing it. So, yeah.
I love it. Quick thing. So how have I know you're huge on family, and I know that this is, I feel inspired by that in a sense, and bringing that connection together. So two things. So one, how has your family received the idea and ultimately the game? What's your been experience with that and playing with them, and your experience, like what have you felt that they've felt along the way, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So I'm really thankful for my family, because at first, when I came up with the idea, I cut out papers, from just like printing paper and different colored paper, and I cut it out, and they were so willing to play. They didn't laugh at me. They weren't like, oh man, like what is this? They were interested. And that was when it was at seed form. And when things are at seed form, you need to be able to protect it, because it could grow into be a big tree, or it could easily be crushed. So I'm thankful for their encouragement, because it was a seed form. And if they kind of just said, yo, this is dumb, what are you doing? I would have been like, oh man, all right, man, back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
And I would have away. So my family's encouragement and their support has been a huge blessing from the beginning, because they supported it, they believed in it. And my wife's support as well. From the beginning, when we first started talking, I was like, yo, I make card games. And she was down. And I was like, oh, that's cool. She understood it. And that was a huge encouragement as well. But it was in C form, but it was like a little plant at the time, if I'm trying to use that as like an analogy. But they did really well.
So I was just gonna say, I think that to use the metaphor of the seed, I think the encouragement is the water. It encourages you to say, let me keep caring about this. Let me keep, because sometimes if there's something you care about and the people who you care about don't care about that, it almost is like, wait, am I crazy? Like, and I think sometimes it reassures oh wait, no, maybe I am going on the right path. And it's hard when people don't have that encouragement. That's why I think you have to have that self-belief, which comes out of that spending time with yourself. But spending too much time with yourself in isolation is not healthy. That's where you say healthy isolation, which leads me to ask, how have you felt about releasing it during this time? and how have you felt about bringing people together? Where I heard something recently, someone said we should have never used the term socially distance. We should have used the term physically distance, because we need connection. We need to be
Yeah.
socially together, even if we can't be physically together. So how have you felt Limbow playing out? And also, what was your thinking with releasing it during this time? Um, all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So I decided to release it. It wasn't by choice, or what? Yeah, it wasn't by choice because I had to kind of save up for it and raise funds for. If I wanted to release this a bit earlier than now, you
Mhm.
know. I wanted to release it last year, but I still was saving money for it and trying to raise funds and working odd jobs just to have the funds to release it. And I wanted to release it last year. So this wasn't by choice, but I'm thankful that it's being released right now. Um, but yeah, man, as you said, we're hardwired to be social.
Yeah.
Like beings, that's our desire to connect with people and to be social. And yeah, that's the main reason why I created it. One of the main reasons, family and that desire. And my hope for this game is that man, if I could get 30 minutes, 40 minutes of people's time, friends and family, and there's a little bit of laughter and like, oh, would you do that? I've won. I've won, you know? And it's all about the little wins like that, bringing people together. So I don't know if I answered your question, but it
Well,
wasn't planned to release it at this time. And I think you asked another question.
yeah. So that answers the first question. It was kind of like, was it intentional during the pandemic, and also how has the pandemic affected it? Do you feel like, because obviously some people are, if you're living in the same house with your family, it's a lot easier to play than if you're not seeing your friends or you're socially distanced and touching cards. And have you felt? I mean, I guess that could be a good thing, because when the pandemic's over, then there could be an increased connection and desire to connect. I think there's currently an increased connection and desire to connect because of this lack of connection. We're on our phones more. I mean, at least I am. And I think the awareness of like, wait, I've been on my phone a lot. This isn't helping me. Um, I don't know. Does it like, have you felt that being socially or physically distant has impacted it positively and or negatively?
Yeah, I released it during the pandemic, so I haven't been able to see its life, when things have died down,
Right.
concerning the pandemic. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it looks like for Limbo to, be played in a life where we aren't going through the coronavirus. But my hope is that, there people could play, whether Zoom or FaceTime. I'm still thinking up ideas in which people could stay connected playing the game. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. I haven't seen what it looks like to, you know, have people play in a life where we aren't, on lockdown or having to be quarantined, or in a world just where there isn't coronavirus. So yeah.
Awesome. Um, so I was curious if you had any other ideas for iterations of it. Like, I know that there's a Cards Against Humanity thing, and then there's like or
Yeah.
Apples to Apples, and there's like
Yeah.
a maybe rated R version or something. Do you have any ideas for maybe not
Yeah.
in that way, but different versions or stuff like that we may see in the future?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I'm thinking about just different ideas, whether, it be specific to now, like, and for me, um, I made sure that every question. So I would say yes. You asked me a question about my faith. Did that, have an impact on this? It did have an impact, and whereby I made sure that the 120 questions in this game were family friendly. I didn't want it to be perverse in any way, because I didn't want there to be any awkwardness between, okay, a parents and
Sure.
asking a weird question and the kids asking a weird question, like, yo, I don't want to talk to my mom about this, you know what I mean? So I just made sure that it was very family friendly. So that's what I'm always focused on. And if I do expand, which I do plan to expand, the goal and one thing that I'm always going to focus on is that the questions will be uh, non-perverse, in any way. So yeah, I do plan on branching out to making like specific like relationship questions.
Mm.
You know, people that want to get to know each other in a romantic relationship, or a husband and wife version, or the college student version. When it comes to um, student loans and stuff like that. Would you do something to kind of cancel your student loans? Questions like that, or just a girls' night out or guys' night out. So just kind of branching out in different ways. So that's what I do plan to do in the future. But for right now, just focusing on this, trying to push this as much as possible and as hard as I can. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Awesome. What was your favorite game or toy as a kid? Or what was one of them?
Favorite game or toy. So as a young kid, I grew up in Nigeria as well, so I lived there most of my formative years. So what I was doing, man, was playing outside and playing soccer, man. That's what I did as a young kid. In Nigeria, man, we just played soccer. We played outside whenever because the lights would kind of come out. The lights did shut off, very frequently. Whereby it's just like the electrical system out there is developing. It's not up to par with like the U.S. But lights will come out and there's nothing to do inside. You're going outside and we're playing. So growing up, as a young boy in Nigeria, man, we just played soccer outside. So that's what I was doing all the time.
I love it. Let's see. Do you read? I don't know if we've
Yeah.
talked about books before.
So I need to. So I haven't read a physical book in a while, but I'm always reading like different articles and different things to help me. Anything that's going to help the creative part of my mind, kind of the creative juices of my mind. I'm always down to read that, but I haven't read a physical book in a while. I've just been reading the Bible. I just read the Bible. That's the only physical book that I'm always reading. But yeah, just reading articles, reading about people's stories. I do have one question for you though.
Yeah.
So what was your experience playing the game? I want like your feedback. Like, what was the experience like? Did you guys laugh? Like, what was it? Was it conversation created out of the game?
Yeah. So I played with two different parties essentially. So I played with my roommates here the night before my birthday, and then I went to Sedona. My mom and my siblings met me in Sedona for my birthday, and I brought it there. So I played with both my roommates and my immediate family, and everyone loved it. Everyone had a great time playing it. It sparked great conversations. I think there's you think people and what they'd be willing to do, and then you see them put no and everyone put yes, or they put yes and everyone put no, and that sparks conversations and it makes people laugh. And I think I don't know, I'm super proud of you. I'm a huge fan. I love the game, and it's awesome. It's awesome that you did this. I agree. You said that you think we'll be super successful in a few years. I see that as well. And that's why I ask about iterations, because I think there's potential space for that even as well, because but yeah, it's awesome. Like, I think if you play it enough times, you might get obviously the same questions. So in that sense, potential iterations. But
yeah,
I mean, even then, because you're playing with different people are answering different questions.
yeah.
You might answer yes to something, I might answer no to, or vice versa. So overall, it's awesome. It's a great game, and definitely spark conversation. And my mom asked me for the link to get it. So yeah, she played it with her friends, because I went back to LA for Thanksgiving. So I brought it there. I don't think we played it, but she played with a couple of her friends. They enjoyed it. So
The reason I ask is because, creating something and playing it over and over again, I'm like, will people really like this? Like you just start to get in your head,
Right.
So it's always really exciting for me to hear how other people's experiences are, because I'm looking at this game through, okay, I made it, right? I created this. So I'm looking at it in a very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like my view is kind of like, it's it's an old set of eyes, you know. So I'm just like looking at it. I'm like, will people like it? I'm overthinking. Like, I mean, it's fun and it's, you know, I enjoy it, but like, will they get bored? You know, so it's just
Yeah.
cool. It's really encouraging hearing that you know you guys enjoyed it, you know. And then I'm playing with my family again over and over again. I'm like, are they lying to me? You know, they're not trying to hurt my feelings. So I was like, somebody else besides the people that I've played it with over like 20 times needs to play so I know what it's like. So
Yeah. No,
yeah.
it's great. It's great. It's cool. I think it's interesting who wins, because typically the person that's going to win is the person that uh, has the best intuition on everyone else and what they'd be willing to do. So it's interesting who keeps winning. Is what my deduction is like, oh well, if if I keep winning it, that means I know everyone who I'm playing with the best and what they'd be down to do. So it's like, it was cool. It's fun. It's a fun game, and I think the fact that you can win it, it makes it a competitive, whereas it didn't need to be, but it adds an edge where it's not just about the conversations. You're not just having, because like you said, like we've all had conversations like, ooh, would you do this for $1 million? Or like, would you do that for $1 million? And I think creating a game out of that, definitely nothing I've ever seen before, and definitely fun to play. I love the name. I love it. I'm a fan.
Yeah, so that's why like I needed to create like a little bit of a competitive aspect to it. So people tend to just play. Like I've played in many different situations where we play and we're counting the points and it's like I won,
Mhm.
right? And times where I play and it's like we're just asking the questions, man. We're just
Mhm.
asking, racking up these points and nobody cares anymore how many points they have. So it's really cool to see um, how that goes. You know, we've played in different ways where it's like, as I said, I win, game over. And we played it another way, which is really unique. I just played this way with my family back in August, where it was like the first person to get 14 wins and is out. Then we keep playing until
Mhm.
everyone's out of the game. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was another way we played. So yeah, man, I needed to add that a little bit. I need to add a little bit of competitiveness because I'm a competitive person,
Yeah.
and um, I was just thinking of ways like how could I make it a game that is exciting? Because it could have just been a game of just questions,
Right.
and that's cool, you know. But I needed to add another element where it was competitive, and also people weren't, yeah, competitive. That's why I added the wild cards as well. I hope you guys use the wild cards. I'm not sure if you guys
Yeah.
use the wild card, you know,
Yeah.
where it's like to another person, just to add just some sort of like competitiveness to it and uncertainty as well. So
It was
a little
great.
bit of
It's cool when you play with your family and one of you picks the would you drink the vomit for to bring someone back to life or to save someone's life. And it's interesting when you play with different people, like, my younger siblings may not have debt, so them pulling that card may not resonate, but me playing with, my roommates or, other people may resonate in a way where certain questions have different like emotions. So yeah, no, it's I forget what I was gonna say. No, but it's great. Um, yeah, I totally blanked out what I was gonna say.
nah, that's cool, man.
Um,
That's cool.
yeah, how have you seen um the reception from other people? Like, what did it hit your expectations? Are you um underwhelmed? I know that you have. I saw this recently. I was reading this book by Clinton Sparks. He just released like a free book, and I was reading, and he's like, people want fame, but we should not aim for being famous. We should aim for being great.
Yeah,
Like, no one who's great aimed for famous, but they got famous
yeah,
because of their greatness. So if we just focus on doing great things and being great, we might get attention, which can turn into fame or whatever. But if you just
yeah.
chase fame, there's nothing there once you get it. Um, I think you made a great game. Um, but how have you seen? I say that to say that I think you do have great expectations, and you're, you work hard. So how have you seen? Obviously, you're not done. It's only just come out, but so far, what's your feeling?
And I think I'm extremely thankful for the idea that I believe that God gave me to create a game. The idea of the name that I believe that God gave me So obviously, for anybody that doesn't know or even know by the design and the name as well, Limbow, how low are you willing to go for a specific financial reward? So I'm really thankful for the idea. I'm thankful for the persistence that I believe that God put in me, and the passion and desire to want to do this. Because there's so many times where I could have given up because things weren't moving the way that I wanted them to go, didn't have the finances to fund it. So I'm really thankful, and I'm thankful that people get to play besides my family, besides my close, family and friends that I get to see in person. So I'm excited for the future. I'm thankful that, as I said earlier, if I get 30 to 40 minutes of your time laughing, having a conversation, reading the questions and being like, what? I've won. For me, it's not about the money. It's never been about the money, but it's been about bringing people together, bringing families together. As a kid, it was always my desire and my dream to see my family coming together, having intentional time. And I could have, pursued creating an app. But as I told you a while ago, man, like our phones are an individual, personal experience. And maybe one day I'll do an app, but for right now, I needed to do something where I was forcefully bringing people together. A card game, you gotta come together, So I'm just really, really thankful and excited about the future for the game. I'm thankful for where I'm at. The fact that people are ordering, you know what I mean? And people are enjoying it and telling me they like it. As I said, it's the small ones that matter to me. And my greatest win is not that we sell millions and everybody plays. That'll be awesome. But the fact that I got 30 minutes of your time and you guys were laughing and there was conversation, I won.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm thankful, bro. I'm thankful for everything that's happened. I'm thankful that God gave me the idea, to, hey, man, do something different. You know what I mean? Create something. Do something different. So, yeah, bro.
That's something I've always admired about you. I think you move with an intention and you know your values and you know yourself. And I think it's inspiring to people that are struggling. And I think it's hard. It's hard when you're comparing yourself to other people. We don't know who we are.
Yeah.
Like we live in a very weird time. And I think like you're inspiring people that you might not even know. Like, and I told you this story. I was literally driving by. This woman ran across the street and like gave this homeless guy something. Her intention was not to impact me, but literally yesterday I gave a homeless guy something, or a homeless woman something. And I was thinking of that lady, like she had a direct goal, which was, let me help this person. Your direct goal is, let me get one person's 30 minutes. But what you don't realize is, you got me or whoever, but because I love it so much, I'm giving it to the next person, and I'm just one of however many people that are doing that. So hopefully it spreads, hopefully it gets lots of attention, and I believe, you deserve all the success that's coming to you. Where can people purchase it? How can people purchase it? Where can they find you? Socials, all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Instagram page for Limbow is at Limbow Cards. That's the Instagram page. The website is www.limbowgames.com. And you can purchase that. You can go on the Limbow page and tap the link, tap the link to the website, and you can make a purchase there. The promotional code is Limbow 15 ! And that promotional code ends December 15th. And from December 15th till whenever I decide to create a new promotional code, it's going to be $24.99. But that's where it's at. My first Instagram page is at Sharif Akanni. I don't really care about that page. I care about the Limbow Cards. So it's at Limbow Cards. Website www.limbowgames.com. And trying to bring people together, man. That's what it's about, bro. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you for making the time. Is there anything else? Any other stories? Last words before we wrap it up?
Yeah, man. As I said, as human beings, we can't deny the fact that our desire is to be social and to be connected. And that is why I created this game, bringing people together, bringing families together. And I won if I get 30 minutes of your time. And my prayer and my hope is that I bring people together, bring families together, having conversation and laughter. through the game and through many other ways, but more specifically through this game. And for anybody out there that has goals or dreams or ideas, and I want to encourage you to continue to believing in those things, but also take steps forward, because an idea is just an idea and it's cute, but ideas just don't make money. You know what I mean? You got to step out and do something about it. And I believe that God has created everybody with something special within them, an idea, but don't be afraid to have healthy isolation, to separate yourself from the chaos and the noise and the friends and the family, and just focus in and introspectively think about what you want to do with yourself and what you want to do with your life. And lastly, don't be intimidated by the fact that you're starting from ground zero. It was out of nothing that I created something in the game. So that's where I'm at, man. And
Love it.
I want to leave you with.
I think you already won. The fact that you are holding the box that I've got the box right here too. I mean, you won. You won.
Let's go, man.
You already won. I'm holding your idea in my hand like you won. Like, yes, like continue success and you'll continue winning. I'm proud of you for real. Like, you made it happen, and thank you for your time and for making a dope thing.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for believing in this, and you know what I mean, the time that you're taking out to ask me questions about this game. I really appreciate that, man.
Of course. I hope yes, I'm excited for the future, and you're only getting started, bro. Like, you're only a quarter into this. Like, one quarter, 3 more quarters, and you've already completed a game. Like, bro, you haven't even started.
Yeah.
I'm excited. All right, thank you. I'm gonna pause the recording, but once again, it's limbogames.com, and what's the Instagram ad again?
So the Instagram ad is @LimboCards on Instagram. And
Follow.
the website limbogames.com.
Perfect. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great one. Peace.